I knew you would be able to.
I said yes, because it's a free vacation. Okay, so you didn't do Birthright, but like
I wanted to do a comic like before Wonder Woman came back with a movie. I wanted Wonder Woman going on Birthright and just becoming an extremist at the Western Wall, but never got around to it. Basically,
at least Donald Trump did Birthright.
Yeah.
That was such a fun day.
Thank you to all my friends. Zvini gave me my first sexual experience. Really terrific, very fun to do. I'll never forget you. Let's keep in touch.
But no, I asked about that because when we had Adam Friedland on, the only Jewish guest other than you we've ever had on the show, he talked about like how he sort of turned the corner in his conception of Zionism versus the story that was in his head growing up when he actually visited Israel. And I'm wondering, when did you begin to like make that turn in your head from your own upbringing between like the story that you had that you were told about Israel and its relation to you as a Jew living in America versus what you believe now?
That's great. I wish there was like a single epiphany, but there are many like little points. I mean, I can just tell you like at one point I was in Jerusalem. If you're a wandering American Jew, they like rope you in to try and get you more religious. That's one of the many sort of outreach efforts there are. Not necessarily Zionist, although it was Zionist too, but it was like Orthodox outreach. And I was sitting at some Hasidic man's Shabbat dinner table, and he was like singing Aravim Klavim, the Arabs are dogs. And he was, and also my Hebrew wasn't so great, but I got translated that the only thing they understand is a stick, which is, mean both to Arabs and to dogs. I mean, it's like dogs, they're not necessarily so. You shouldn't beat dogs. Is what I'm trying to say.
and that one's kind of interesting because one of like the big Islamophobic cadards is that Muslims are mean to dogs because they're unclean.
Right. And so like moments like that, but also like just realizing, I spent some time in Europe and meeting like Israeli emissaries who were there to like teach the locals, post-communist in Central Europe, about their true home, which is Israel. And whenever America came up, they'd be, like jokes would be like, the book of American culture is like empty, like just stupid shit like that. Just trying to emphasize subtly and not so subtly that America is a wasteland, Europe is a wasteland, and Israel is the only home for Jews. It's like Jeffrey Goldberg lead or the cover story in the Atlantic a few years ago.
Is it time to leave?
Europe, or cherry pick interviews and quotes and anecdotes and saying post some definitely horrible events that the Jews of Europe should move to a place which is more dangerous probably for Jews. And also that they shouldn't move to America, for instance, if they're going to go anywhere. But of course, they shouldn't go anywhere because their homes are there.
And also, remember all that horrible stuff that happened to your parents and grandparents? What if you were doing it?
But you mentioned the story about being in someone's house and having them sing Arabs or dogs to you. Could you talk a little about one of the comics that appears in here called the Odd Couple?
Yeah, that was kind of autobiographical as well.
Yeah, that was one I liked a lot, and that was one of the more controversial ones. Could you describe that comic and then some of the reaction you got to it?
So this comic was controversial, I guess. It was based on the basic ideas how Orthodox outreach efforts, especially in Israel, are able to prey on American or other diaspora Jews' ignorance and pull them in based on this brainwashing bullshit, and it's easier to do if it's Hebrew. So it is like the Aravim Klavim thing, because this comic was bilingual. It just showed an Orthodox outreach type in Israel speaking in Hebrew, and this guy Brian Greenstein, defined as American Jew who doesn't speak Hebrew, visiting Jerusalem for the first time, just going into this like romantic reverie based on this guy's putrid quotations, and all the things he's saying came straight out of the mouths of ultra-Orthodox Jews.
So like he's just saying like, oh, this is great, like I'm finally connecting with my Jewish roots, and I'm feeling that essence of Judaism, which is peace and love. And then like the guys are saying is the translation is, Reform rabbis are filthy, lying Gentile criminals who brought the Holocaust on the Jewish people.
Again, a direct quote.
The other one says, a woman who wears a prayer shawl should be wrapped in the shawl and buried.
What? Wait a minute. Why?
Oh, because they're against women having equal roles in Orthodox Judaism. So a prayer shawl, is a talit, and so basically use that as her burial shroud.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That sounds cool.
Kill her, basically.
Right. Yeah, that sounds really cool.
We should destroy Muslim holy sites and kill their men, women, and children and cattle.
L'chaim.
Yeah. What
So
was
in the forward, we actually, especially because the editor in chief, this is the kind of comic that she'd be worried about. We cited everything with links. I probably should have put them in the book as well, but. We cited every single thing that was said, and still people were furious because, for a number of reasons. One of them, don't air the dirty laundry, but the other one is, it's out of context. The prayer shawl, might have been.
I was quoting a rap song.
I'm not sure what the context for that would be to make it,
slam poetry. I mean,
right.
that entire thing. I mean, there is that ethos in Zionism of reconnecting with tradition, and it's. One of the billion parallels with like modern chintzy blood and soil nationalism. If you remember Trump's speech in Poland where he talks about the West's great traditions that we all love, and it's what traditions does Donald Trump know? Like what cultural traditions? And you think like, oh, it's the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie he likes, and like being racist to Mexicans, and it's the same sort of it's revanchism, but a very chintzy kind of it, because. This is all like the thing about destroying all the Arab holy sites. These are all new things in the Jewish identity since the Irgun, since 48.
Well, every nationalist project is a historical revisionist project.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should just point out this is sort of a satire, or I guess parody of Orthodox Jews, and not all of them are actually Zionists. Some of them are anti-Zionist. However, it is true that many Zionists, buy a lot of the Orthodox bullshit.
Orthodox is funny to me because it's like a lot of it is very old, but most of it, I always remember there was this tweet I saw at the height of woke stuff in 2014 where this woman posts, my grandmother just said some curses into an egg and buried it into her backyard. That's an indigenous tradition. And I thought, no, it's not. She just has dementia. Like, that's not anything. And
or when Mao was like, shit, we don't have enough money to build hospitals in the countryside. Okay, your grandmother actually used to eat a bunch of roots, and then she was fine. And they're like, I'm pretty sure that never happened. And he's like, no, it's traditional Chinese medicine.
And for like a lot of the stuff for Orthodox, a lot of the stuff for Hasids, it started in like the mid to late 1800s, presumably from a village where there was a lot of dementia, because you can't really draw a through line between that and the Tanakh. I mean, any fundamentalist religion is the same way. Like a lot of modern Salafism and Ketubism, it's like very new stuff that a lot of times there isn't a real through line between that and the Quran, and it's the same way with every religion. But it is,
As a snake handler, I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, but it's interesting because that just makes them all the more preposterous if they claim that they're authentic.
Right.
Because they say, it's like Hasidim saying, this is the way, or I imagine them saying, this is the way they dressed in the old temple period, Clearly,
they wore top hats. I mean,
it was fucking hot in
Big
the first
furry
century.
hats.
It's fucking hot out.
Anything like that.
It's fucking hot out. I got the Talmud. He's trying to chill, read some scripture. I mean, but this is the fact. I mean, the funniness of it isn't that it's the Jewish way is any more ridiculous than the other stuff, than Salafism or like fundamental Christianity or like the weird Hindu Hotep stuff that Modi does. It's that it's the same thing. It's the same cockamamie revisionism and fake tradition a lot of the time. And it hits to the core of something that I think you get at a lot, which is growing, like when I was growing up, even like in a non-Zionist family, you do believe there is this like Jewish exceptionalism that you're not, when we go crazy, we're not crazy in the same stupid way that everyone else when they go crazy, but the point is everyone's susceptible. Everyone is susceptible to the same traps of nationalism and clannishness and insanity and fake traditions and chintzy revanchism.
Another character, sort of a repeat character from the actual strips that I want to ask you about is Stuart the Jewish Turtle. Could you describe Stuart and what he sort of represents in your strips?
Yeah, Stuart, he's America's sweetheart.
The Stuart craze phrase is sweeping the nation. It's the new Twitter meme.
Yeah, exactly. Stewart, I mean, it's obviously a metaphor, clearly, because there are no talking turtles or thinking turtles, I guess, but it's a turtle in a cage owned by this like normal basic couple, and the turtle, no matter what they're saying, is interpreting everything through the lens of anti-Semitism and considering them to be anti-Semites, considering Bernie Sanders to be an anti-Semite. Everyone is anti-Semite out to get him, and the whole time he's a turtle stuck in his cage, and it's like a generational thing, obviously, because it's kind of making fun of a lot of people's uncles and grandparents around the Passover Seder. And so that's why this is one of the comics that I think younger Jewish people understand and appreciate more than older ones, or probably Eli Lake types, who are like, what the fuck are you talking about? What is this? Doesn't make any sense. It's anti-Semitic.
Doesn't make any sense. The turtle has no thoughts. It's just asinine and anti-Semitic.
That turtle is in the IRGC.
So, I mean, as long as we're talking about him, I guess, like, I want to talk now about the haters, about the people who have sort of, not to use too much of a buzzword, but colonized for themselves a little, like, political niche of being like of right-wing Judaism and for like neoconservatism, a lot of it. And I think if you're talking about that, I think we should talk now about the two dynasties in like American Jewish political tradition of a recent note would be the Crystals and the Podhoritzes. The Crystals and the Podhoritz clan. Yeah, father and son of both. This is also very Old Testament.
Totally.
Like,
and inherited a stature.
Yeah, exactly. That they're keeping this tradition alive. And I think what's funny is that, like, Bill Kristol now has gone from being like one of the principal intellectual architects of the Iraq War to being like the person every fucking resistance Democrat now praises up and down as some sort of righteous truth teller because he doesn't like Donald Trump, even though he was the reason John McCain chose Sarah Palin as his fucking running mate in 2008. So this goes back to your exact thing about these people now have cultivated all of this, and they're like they are more responsible for Trump, even though they limply try to disown him or say how like you said, the how dare you sir shit. Like Kristol and them are all, and like the Weekly Standard and Commentary have all sown these seeds forever.
Yeah, I don't know. John Podhoretz blocked me after calling me a capo, so I don't know exactly where he is on Trump, but I think he's anti-Trump too, right?
He's very anti-Trump.
Okay, yeah. But the same thing, insisting that criticism of demagoguery and bigotry and ethnic cleansing, essentially, in Israel is anti-Semitism, is self-hatred, and look where we are now, and now you're going to be anti-Trump? What do you mean? This is a logical fulfillment of everything you've believed in for the past 10 years.
And also, how are these people not still pissed at him for tantalizing them with the prospect of David French coming in and saving us from Trump, which he obviously could have. And then he just took that all away from us at the last minute.
And as long as we're talking about family history here, I don't know if I've ever told this story on the show before, but my dad was actually Bill Kristol's high school English teacher.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I love this story.
At Collegiate, which is this like, sort of a very preppy boys' school on the Upper West Side. And I don't know what age. I think it was maybe like 9th grade, must have been, or like 8th or 9th grade, around that age. And yeah, young Master Kristol was his student. And the two recollections that he gave of that time being his teacher was that, surprise, surprise, little Billy was almost universally loathed by teachers and peers alike. He carried a briefcase to school. He was that kid with like the Snap briefcase. And last but not least, the other like actual memory of him as a student is that like I think there was some sort of like personal essay assignment, and I'm not kidding. He said Bill got in a little bit of trouble because he read a personal essay that included observations about how he didn't like black people's hair.
It's amazing. It's John Podhoretz, My Negro Problem and Ours by
that's from the Podhoretz side of it. But like, yeah, these are the guys who are like
Norman Podhoretz.
Yeah, like these are the guys who are like the real like heirs to this like, very hawkish strain of right-wing Judaism in America. And like and again, like the whole thing with neoconservatives is this idea that they all started out by liberals, and like this whole idea that like, oh, then we woke up and see the real reality.
Yeah.
And then the other I swear I've been trying to source this story for years now. I think I came across it because someone referenced it a long time ago in one of Midge Decter's books. Midge being the mother of Jonathan, wife to Norman Podhoretz. It's in one of her books about like their life turning to the right, and they talk about little John Podhoretz,
Their little pod.
their little pod, and how they had to
God
hide.
bless America.
They had to hide.
Nice.
And about how Midge and Norman had to hide their television set by putting it at the top of the closet because little J-Pod watched too much Mary Tyler Moore Show, and he would throw tantrums when they put the TV in the closet.
That's as good of a starting point to get into Zionism as any.
Maybe he liked Rhoda, the Jewish neighbor.
Yeah, he just
By
wanted
the way,
a home
Rhoda
run.
a dime.
Rhoda a dime. Yeah, and it was like, what if there was an entire country of Rhodas?
Yeah.
fully adult Rhodas.
Man, what a good family.
But like they were really like the both these utterly rotten fucking families just were the trailblazers in this kind of in creating the American political Jewish identity that you are so brilliantly satirizing, and like this idea that liberalism is weak, and Jews need to be like hard and hawkish and strong, and Israel is the way we do that. Even though they don't actually live in Israel, they're never going to fucking leave New York. They don't want to go live in some fucking settlement.
Right.
But they love they need to hold up sort of like that war and military conquest
Pioneer
and
ethos.
yeah, exactly. And like to I don't know. What is it like?
That's what holds together the identity politics of it all.
Yeah,
It's all
it's
this idea of there's a location and there's a political project and it's a protectionist project for people who are always, no matter what, under siege and have to be vigilant every day, all the time.
I mean, definitely on Israel. I guess also in other areas too. But listen, they're entitled to their view, and that's fine. What's bizarre is that their view is the accepted Jewish American view in terms of leadership and in terms of certainly far beyond their numbers and proportion of the community in terms of Jewish American ideals, which is just horrifying.
And the other one that I think I wanted to bring up with you, I know you noticed this before. They're sort of like a smaller target. They're not father and son. It's husband and wife, Bethany and Seth Mandel.
Yeah.
They're coming out. They're going real strong to get that number one with a bullet for most awful political couple. But I bring this up because Bethany did this like bizarre piece for Tablet about like why it would be okay, why we should like try to why we, meaning like American Jews, should try to make friends with Nazis.
Yeah, I think that was Forward, actually.
It was in the Forward?
Yeah, I think
Oh.
so, yeah. But definitely could have been Tablet, too.
The other, one of the worst magazines online, for sure.
Yeah,
Like,
you saw the whole, the Weinstein thing?
oh, where they were like...
It's a Phil Roth character.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love going to the bathroom because I have Tablet commentary, all the Bad Haaretz articles about how must-see TV is a Jewish problem or something.
I just love the balls that you have to call your magazine Tablet. Like it was engraved in stone, and Moses was like lugging around this gossip rag.
Yeah, the moment that he came down from the mountain and he bellowed from Tablet. What if you got divorced and one parent moved to Israel? That would be good. And they destroyed
Right
their
there on
golden
Tablet.
calves. Yeah.
But what I thought was interesting...
If Beth Mandel is gonna be the Knicks queen of this lineage, she's gonna need to change her name, because the Podoretz and the Mrs. Podoretz and Mrs. Crystal real names were Midge Decter and Gertrude Himmelfarb.
Yeah.
Two of the most amazing names in history. Beth Mandel's not gonna cut it.
yeah.
Dolores Squagbottom.
But what I thought was interesting about that piece about like maybe we should consider like reaching out to Nazis is not that like, okay, I read the piece and it's like, if you're there's a lot of hemming and hawing. She qualifies a lot of it, but like if the overall point is like there needs to be an avenue for deprogramming extremists, then okay, I could see how that could be useful. But like maybe you do that. Like, I don't want to talk to these people.
Let's not introduce a canvesing program.
Yeah.
on it.
Well,
But what I
she
thought
just
was-
goes up to them and goes, "I will not replace you."
And
Don't worry about me.
and like I said, like the piece is like what's wrong with the piece is not that she's considering that like maybe there like you could possibly have a connection or like the extend an olive branch or whatever. Like that's not the worst part about it. What's bizarre about it is that it's in the context now where like the American Jewish political right feels more comfortable extending that olive branch to neo-Nazis than it does to, let's say, BDS supporters or basically just anyone on the political left or anyone who is has a critical opinion of Israel.
You're more likely to be able to speak at a Jewish institution if you're an ally of Nazis than if you are an ally of economic boycotts of Israel.
Well, yeah, because Nazism doesn't really challenge any of the principles of Israel right now.
Well, especially if they want to move all the Jews. If it's just purely like nonviolent ethnic cleansing, all the Jews will move to Israel. Hey, both sides are happy.
Or Madagascar, as Hitler once.
And their model,
Or Uganda.
and their model, and as they've said explicitly, Israel is the model for the kind of ethnic state that they want to create. So they don't have a problem with it. It's like there is a deeper ideological continuity there that can make for a modus vivendi. For progressives, it's in direct conflict, an irresolvable conflict between the way Israel is is perpetuating itself as a state and any kind of traditional progressive values. So that's like an incommensurability that goes to the root and can't be mended.
But we're in these absurd times where we see like so clearly how disgusting the alliances are. I mean, Netanyahu himself. He like boasted, "Oh, we have a wall. Look at our wall. You could be a model for yours." And I think Israel is one of the top contenders for designs or construction of the wall. Right? Or Israeli firm. I'm not sure, but Google that, someone.
It would make sense.
I'm a Bing man.
But you work it, baby.
Yeah.
Bring it, Mr. Chapo.
No, yeah. If we can really get rid of racial prejudice, if the nonviolent ethnic cleansing works together with the only nonviolent ethnic cleansing on earth, Zionism, and if SodaStream can make a green tiki torch, like we're well on our way.
Solar powered TT torch.
Did you ever see the David Frum's wife wrote that article about how she had to leave a plane because a Muslim? Oh yeah, David Frum blocked me for referencing that.
Well, who is his wife? I don't.
Her name is Danielle Crittenden or something like that.
Another good name.
She's
Good
a
name.
Canadian senator, I believe, or his sister. One of the
And
Frums
she
is a
had
Canadian
to
senator.
leave
She
a
made
plane.
David get off a flight they were on, like as the plane was like not taxiing, but still at the gate. They got on the plane, and she wrote about how she made him get off the plane because she saw a Muslim man praying before he got on the plane.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wait, when did it happen? Oh, okay. Maybe I forgot. Okay. Wow. Welcome to the resistance.
Airplane Muslims. Am I right, folks?
Okay, now here
Why
we
don't
go.
we build the whole plane out of the pork or something?
So
to
yeah,
keep
no,
them
this
out?
says in 2004, Danielle took a European vacation with her 3 kids and husband, former Bush trader David Frum. They were heading back to the U.S. after basking. This is Adrian Chen and Gawker, actually. After basking in the relative whiteness of Europe when they stopped in Paris for a layover. At the gate waiting for the flight, Crittenden saw 2 Arab men who she describes ominously, and she wrote this for the Huffington Post. She says, both looked to be about 25 or 26, of Arab descent, beards, dressed in modern Atta traveling fashion of jeans and T-shirts. Neither had any carry-on bags for an 8-hour flight. One of the men was reading an Arabic newspaper while the other seemed twitchy. He kept looking around and repeatedly kept pulling out his documents from a small bag to check them over again.
That is actually me before any flight.
I became fixated on them for the next 2 hours. I had books and magazines, but my eyes kept straying to watch what they were up to. After a little bit, both men took to pacing nervously when they weren't
Probably
looking
because they're
over
being
documents.
stared at by this fucking
That just
weirdo.
describes every person in an airport.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was the fateful week of the terror attack at that airport. She saw them, and she was right. They clearly perpetrated an attack.
She's a precog. The thing I like the most in that is Atta style jeans and t-shirt.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, He's wearing
So
a Richard
basically-
Reed style
Really, they
shoe.
should be punishing her though for she saw something but did nothing.
Well, no. She. What I like is she just gets her husband off the flight. There's no warning everyone else getting on the
Yeah,
plane. But she
yeah.
goes. The final straw for her was say promptly at 3:00, the two men went over to a large window, fell to their knees, and began elaborately praying to Mecca.
Oh, they did the Showtime routine. Hello, my Marty. Hello.
And then she says here, now nearly 7 years later, I ask myself, would I make that same decision again? Without question. And I hope I would still have the guts to report a troubling passenger to an airline
But she
clerk.
did.
She didn't.
I think maybe she did. I don't know. I didn't read the whole piece. So anyway, no, David Frum blocked me because I referenced that story and I said, hey, David, remember when your wife made you get off a plane because she saw an Arab person on it?
I mean,
Wow.
guys, sometimes marriages, they fall apart because couples forget what they love about each other. So if you're hearing this, you're not blocked by David Frum, please remind him about what he loves about his wife so much.
Okay. So that's the Hillary Clinton children's book. I
Yeah,
hope
that's good. What would you give it as an artist? How would you rate it?
I like the art. I mean, it's all. I think all art is subjective, obviously, but I thought it accurately mimicked or borrowed from the genre of 1950s children's book. So I'd give it a thumbs up.
All right.
Would you give it as a work of political propaganda meant to indoctrinate children into the realm of spirit cooking?
Perfectly done. Possibly doesn't age that well in light of the election results.
Yeah, they really shouldn't have jumped ahead on
But
that
no, you know
one.
what? Maybe it's for 2020.
Ooh, yeah.
Get 'em young.
Maybe
They're
it's
gonna-
for 420.
They're gonna republish it with the name Hillary. Some girls are born to vomit and fall down and lose the presidency to an orange psychotic clown.
When Hillary was growing up, they said...
It rhymes. It's good.
Yeah.
When Hillary was growing up, they said, little girl, you're never going to roll all the way down the hill into a sewer grate. And she
They told her, Hillary, you can't have that many tropical diseases at once. And
they
she's
said-
like, you can't stop me. And she drank from the malaria puddle over and over and over again.
They said, Hillary, only sailors in the 1800s got scurvy. You can't. And then she did.
She stayed in a basement and didn't eat any produce for weeks.
My sister actually did know a guy who had scurvy in her MFA program.
Well, MFA program's the key term there.
I don't know how you do it because every agribusiness, everything's loaded up with like just enough bullshit where you won't get scurvy if you eat like even if you like Papa John's for like a year.
Pop-Tarts? I mean,
I'm gonna take the challenge.
yeah.
Scurvy
Take the
challenge.
scurvy challenge.
Scurvier
You
by
heard
the
it here.
day. It's my new web series. I'm gonna be avoiding vitamin C and all citrus fruits and seeing what happens. Seeing how long it takes for the teeth to get loose. See how big I can get the bruises on my legs. So tune into that. It's gonna
I'm
be
going
fucking
for
awesome.
rickettsia. I want that bowed look, so like I'm thick and curvy,
Ooh,
but in a
that's
new
good.
way.
Hourglass figure.
So to close out,
I want to
this-
look like a palm bottle.
So to wrap up this episode with Ellie, we've talked about your work and how it has been attacked as grotesque, offensive, anti-Semitic,
Yeah.
just generally repellent to good taste and people of decent values and I don't know, mental stability. Like the product of a deranged mind.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the diary of a madman, basically.
Exactly.
You're going to be doing the illustrations for another book, by the way.
Oh, I am.
I thought
That's
maybe
right.
we should bring up.
Yeah.
Folks, Ellie's doing the illustrations for our book.
Whoa, nice.
In case you haven't figured that one out. And man, if you haven't gotten in trouble yet, oh boy, wait till people see some of the illustrations you've done for us.
Holy
Welcome to
shit.
the Big Trouble Club.
Seriously though, holy shit, we've seen Ellie's illustrations for some of the sections and yeah, I mean
We're so excited. We
It's
handpicked
so
them
fucking
because
good.
we want more Chuck Close style photorealism.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I would say everybody, please check out Diaspora Boy. It's a really, really great collection. And I would say what also really good about the book is how big it is, because a lot of comic
it is huge.
It's a huge book, but like for like a comic collection, it's absolutely perfect. It really gives like all your illustrations like a lot of room to breathe, and they look great on the page.
It will fuck up your bookcase placement.
Great for coffee tables.
Unable to put it anywhere.
If you need to
If you don't like believe in wrecking your furniture for good line work, I don't even know why you're listening to this podcast.
to tie it back around, if you're going on the version of Birthright that Jeff Goldberg did, where he got to be a prison guard, and you, like him, need to beat a suspect, don't go for the phone book. Go for Diaspora
And on that note,
it's thin, so you can get a good like whip action on it.
Even a big, soft, tubby little bitch like Jeff Goldberg can get a good lick in with that.
We'll be looking out for the review of our book in the Atlantic, which I'm sure will be happy to cover it.
Right next to their new article, is Black Lives Matter funded by the IRGC? Can't wait for that one.
Okay, Ellie, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Adam. I really appreciate it.
And until next time, guys.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Hasta la pronto.
All right, Will, turkey. First question.
Love to eat turkey.
No,
Remember?
my mom makes a perfect turkey.
No, she doesn't.
Yes, she does.
I haven't had it, but I
If you were
guarantee
in my
it's not.
Thanksgiving for an hour before being ejected for screaming at somebody about your favorite movie from 1974 about a bisexual substitute teacher, screaming at my uncle about that, you got to sample the turkey.
I don't really like
and we
this.
don't.
It's acceptable to be like turkey mostly mediocre, but what makes Thanksgiving is the sides.
Yes, the sides.
It's all about the sides.
So get a
which are
better
all-
fucking
stuffing is-
protein, and then you'll have an amazing meal.
Stuffing is great.
No, I like turkey. I like it.
I
with
turkey's
turkey.
great.
And also, I object to 5%. I'm sorry, if you're a reasonably competent person, yes, you
Which
can
only 5%
cook.
of people are if you adhere to the
I'm
Nation
saying
of Islam.
homemakers.
Only
Most virtual,
The
most
5% gods of the earth do have the ability, the Nubian ability
most
to cook turkey.
homemakers can make a turkey and it's good.
Wrong.
This is like cilantro to you. I think you just have some gene that makes you hate this.
No,
Yeah.
everybody,
Food.
because the way people talk about turkey. First of all, every article.
Hello.
There's a million articles about the secret to
Hello,
making
we
it
got,
good.
we got Will. We got Will on the line.
Hey, how y'all doing?
We're doing good. We need you to weigh in right now, immediately, just right off the bat. Turkey, are you yay or nay? Pro
Like
or
the-
con?
The country or the food?
Like turkey, Thanksgiving dinner, like the big
yeah,
bird
no,
we all
I,
have.
I like a beef, like a sirloin or something.
Oh, okay. What?
This man has got fucking
What?
taste. This man understands that he should not limit himself to inferior food because of stupid, outdated traditions.
We all like sirloin. We can eat sirloin whenever we want.
Yeah, you can only eat turkey.
You know, once a year we all eat a giant piece of shit.
That's
There's
not
only
what turkey
two
is. That's
types.
ridiculous. It's argumentum ad absurdum.
So, it's your Chapo for this week. We're joined now by journalist Will Sommer, author of the Wright Richter newsletter. And look, we're counting down the days. It's Saturday.
The hours, the minutes, the seconds.
I mean, I'm talking about this
Tick,
Saturday.
Tick, 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 tick,
I mean,
tick,
if
tick.
you're listening
your
to
time
us-
is up, Middle America. Tick, 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 tick.
If you're listening to us and you're a fan of the show, you already know. You already know what's going down. You have your assignments. You have your kill list. You are ready for when the hour is at hand.
You stockpiled piss balloons and flamethrowers.
However, I feel like there may be some people out there who don't know what's going down on November 4th. So we've got Will Sommer on to school us and the rest of the country about what is in store for them this Saturday. So, Will.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Yeah.
Let me ask you, what exactly is going to go down this Saturday, November 4th? Or more precisely, what does a sizable chunk of the TCOT, MAGA, Chud internet think is going to happen this Saturday?
Yeah, so like a lot of like right-wing types, like most prominently Alex Jones, but really just like endless amounts of people on the internet, like on YouTube and like, you know, the 3%er Facebook and whatever, are like convinced that basically Antifa is going to do like a combination like purge and coup on Saturday.
A poo. Classic.
I didn't know about this until last week when the Street Fight Boys, Brett and Brian, were in town. And my favorite thing whenever I'm actually in a room with Brian is just to gain access to his Facebook feed, which is just an absolute
fucking sewer.
It's just an absolute treasure trove of every. He is in hundreds of right-wing Facebook groups, and he has access to the most primo memes. And all of them were about November 4th. And they were all some variation of like, come we're ready for you. Like, if you think you know what war is, like you're about to lose one. You know, like just hyping themselves up for this imaginary conflict with Antifa.
I love it. They're doing my favorite right-wing thing, which is they post Jack Nicholson from A Few Good Men, who is just like, he was basically an evil camp counselor in that movie. Like, he wasn't like a battle-hardened Marine. He was just like a dick to people who slept in bunk beds. And I'm excited for the next generation of people they have in like their cool war memes. They're going to have Captain Vidal from Pan's Labyrinth, the judge of Toontown.
But like, Will, how did this get started? Because like I didn't even know about this, like I said, until last week, and it's already one of the funniest things I've seen all year.
Yeah, so I mean, these guys got like basically it all started with there is sort of like a little bit of truth to it in that there is like the Revolutionary Communist Party. This is the Bob Avakian, like kind of I think what you guys might call
powerhouse in the American left.
These fellows, they say they're going to do like an Occupy thing on Saturday to like, you know, run Trump out of office, but it's like a protest, you know. And so I mean, these guys, they tried to big like protest on a freeway and they could get like 10 people to do it. So like, it's not exactly like going to bring the country to its knees. But this dude who like is like a bail bondsman.
Yes. Explain this guy. He's sort of the patient zero for this meme.
Yeah, exactly. So this guy named Jordan Peltz makes a video, and like it's like the classic, you know, like any YouTube thing now, like that's like a rant has to be like you're in a driver's seat of a car, like inexplicably.
Dan Quinn, baby.
Yeah,
Dan Quinn started that.
And so they film it. This guy films it, and he looks like a cop. I mean, he's got like an AR-15 over the head of his seat. He's got like the glass in between. He's got like this kind of like badge that's frankly like a little like stolen Valerie. And so he's got like this badge on this, and he's like, man, Antifa's coming in November. They're gonna like, they're getting ammunition. They're getting all this stuff.
That leads me into Antifa's next step. On their website, they are calling for an open civil war that they will start here in the United States in November. They are fundraising for weapons, training, ammunition, supplies. This is verbatim what they're going to do. So if you're white, you're a Trump supporter, you're a Nazi then to them, and it will be open game on you.
And so people see this and they go, holy crap, this is like a cop telling us this. Of course, this guy's like a bounty hunter.
Right. And what I love about the video is, like you said, he has this veneer of law enforcement authority in that he's kitted out with all the gear. He's got, you know, the Oakley wraparound shades, a vest. He has a badge that looks like he's a U.S. Marshal. But this is all just cosplay.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, like, you know, like the word like LARPer gets thrown around a lot, like on the right, and like this dude is definitely doing it. I mean, there's a point where he says like, you know, Antifa's gonna come. At first, Antifa's gonna like execute all the cops.
They will start off by attacking police officers, first responders, anybody that's in uniform, and after they have disrupted that enough in the nation, and us first responders are literally going everywhere trying to resolve things, they will then go after the citizens and the people and the government and all of that.
And it's just going to be crazy because like first responders like me are really going to be like in
Brilliant.
trouble. And it's
Who's
like
gonna
you're not
arrest
really
them?
a first responder. Like you like catch dudes who like skip out on their like child support.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it wasn't a badge. It was a shirt that had
Yes.
a badge printed on it.
Oh yeah, it was like one of those famous Stars and Straps shirts. He's wearing his 15-year-old son's shirt while he has custody.
He's got one of those shirts that's got a tuxedo on it, only it's Kevlar.
But like in how long ago was this? Like when did
So this is like the revolutionary communists started talking about this at the beginning of August. This fellow comes in at like the very end of August, and so this thing's kind of been building. Like a lot of like right wing people have been being like, oh, like the communist slogan is November 4th it begins, and so this is like a very ominous thing. And so this has been going on for a couple months, but just in sort of the last as the supposed bloodbath approaches.
So he does the video, and then like this thing has just taken on a life of its own in the right wing media, particularly on YouTube, right? Because when we found out about this, and when we were preparing for this show, we were just searching around for November 4th on YouTube. And it's like this whole new genre of YouTube videos are these guys either sitting in their cars or addressing a camera and just talking about how they're preparing for November 4th. A lot of them are showing off like their guns. They're like, they'll be shooting in their backyards with like their new, rifle, and they go, "Hey, Antifa, you don't want any of this." Pop, 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 pop. And there's just tons of these videos of these guys sort of psyching themselves up and threatening Antifa and just getting ready for this thing on Saturday. So
there's like multiple genres. There's like so many of these videos that there's like guy driving in a car. And like like there's a guy named Glock Fanboy, and he's like one of the leading ones. And so, but like he's like driving. Like I don't know why these people are like they love driving and talking. And so, but like Glock Fanboy will be like, Antifa, like you better come and get it, man. And then he like hits the brakes too hard, and his phone like goes flying.
Because like I said, man, when it gets hit, when things get real and the shit starts flying, dude, there will be no safe space. Not for you. Sorry, guys. Fucking piece of shit. Fucking thing. It fell off of my windshield.
So there's that. There's like guys in like really like dimly lit rooms giving prepper advice. And then there's kind of like the John Birch Society has gotten in on this. And then, as you say, there are guys who are either some are like really creepy. Like some dudes are like kind of like quiet, like silently just going through like an entire house with just like 20 rifles.
No, they're going through a house showing off all the Home Alone style booby traps that they've prepared when Antifa comes.
Hey Antifa, when you're trying to escape into a tunnel on November 4th, watch out because I painted a false one, and it's up to you to figure out which one you're going to go into.
I hope you like getting hit in the face with paint cans.
Hey Antifa, if you're going to be moving around a heavy safe at the behest of a rich dowager, try not looking at her cleavage and dropping it on your friend's foot and then him poking your eyes out. If a piano falls on your head, make sure you play it with the fucking keys or I'll blow your brains out.
There's one guy in particular that I saw you post about, and we discovered him, and I thought he was the best of the bunch. He's a guy that I'm calling now the Down by the River pundit. Could you explain this guy?
Yeah, this is a guy named Sage Wanderer. And
hell yeah.
He's kind of like a dude. He like looks like he's maybe in his 60s, but he doesn't look like he's in like the best shape in terms of like his life. His code phrase, like his kind of like signature sign-on phrase is coming to you literally from my van down by the river.
All right, everybody, this is Sage Wanderer coming at you from my van down by the rainy river. This is the first episode of a series that I would like to do on communist revolutions.
It makes sense because, who hasn't watched those sketches of Chris Farley playing a morbidly obese, pratfalling oaf and think that's a fucking alpha male that I want to emulate?
Well, when I make a political statement, I have to insist to the audience to be taken seriously that I'm some sort of unstable transient at the start.
He's good, but I actually prefer another guy.
I'm caveman, and I am coming from you. Excuse me. I'm a caveman, and I do live in a cave. So I don't know what's going on. But yeah, Sage Wanderer has he's convinced Antifa is after him because he's like spilling out all the November 4th secrets. He's like he wore a fake beard in one episode and he had like an axe. I don't know. I'm worried about him.
What if this guy just like he thinks that the Van Down by the River guy was like a cool anti-hero like Walter White?
Well, I was checking his page, and I think one of his most recent videos is like, I've gone dark. I'm no longer in the van by the river. I'm in an undisclosed location because, Antifa, they're trailing me. They're on my case. And here's the thing, Will, like when you read these guys or like you watch these guys' videos, like a couple questions come to mind. The first of them is, how many people do they imagine Antifa really encompasses in America? Like how many Antifa people do they think there are in America that are going to cause this cataclysm?
I mean, they literally think that like these guys are going to bring down the government. So you have to think of like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. I mean, the big thing is there's like a real like home invasion element to it that they've added sort of in the more recent months. And so the idea that they're going to go like house to house finding white Christians, I mean, this would be a lot of people.
I mean, maybe it's like a Santa Claus type thing, like parents tell their kids that Santa is coming in or the Tooth Fairy, or that we have to paint red on the door or so the spirit can pass over. But really, it's just them doing it. And what's going to happen is their Antifa children are going to kill their boomer parents.
Well, the thing is you might think.
I mean, the thing about the home invasions is, and you guys kind of touched on this, is that like there's a big thing, like I think for a while on the right, but really recently, it's kind of like this idea of like threatening people, but saying you're only going to do it in self-defense.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's not recent. I've seen that for a long time.
I mean, it's a general right-wing thing. Like if you really want to see horror on the internet, go to any fucking local news page or Facebook, and just any crime, like from obviously like the Cadillac of these types of guys is when they find like a pedophile's been arrested, but it will go all the way to like loitering, because in the comments you'll just see guys whose entire face is a mustache and a hat for a Navy destroyer going, "Give him to me, I'll fucking cut his head off, I'll fucking shit down his neck." And people's favorite thing to do, because they're so removed from any existential struggle, is to fantasize about like killing pedophiles or killing a home invader.
What I'm familiar with are these lurid, and they're always racial fantasies of often on articles about Chicago or something like that, saying I just hope some rap thug tries to break into my house, because the first thing I'm going to do is shoot him with my one gun. Then I'm going to get a second gun that I also like and treasure, and I'm going to shoot him with that second gun.
Well, I love the arrogance to it, because like cops who like go to a special school to learn how to kill people, like just constantly get owned and can't win gunfights, and soldiers just end up murking each other all the time. But like just these guys who go to the range, like they're gonna. First of all, the gangster disciples are going to invade their house in like fucking Tennessee. But second of all, that they're going to like win a gun battle with them while they're waking up from their Ambien haze.
I mean, it's literally just a lynching fantasy.
Yeah.
Some fantasy where
it's
they would be
Grubhub lynching. They're coming to them.
Yeah, because that's
It's
the whole
perfect.
thing. Is these things are all based around not leaving their house or their car.
That's
Yeah,
true.
And
running over
I get to run
protesters, same
people
thing.
over or shoot them when they come to me. I don't want to have going out into a field of battle and getting sweaty and getting grass on my khakis. No, thank you.
So what's interesting to me is this fantasy is now not just young black men that they're murdering, but Antifa, which I kind of think is a step up. That's progressive now.
Yeah, they're killing white people. And the thing is, we might laugh at them and think, oh, how many Antifa are there that could possibly fucking do a nationwide takeover? You forget that they do multiply when you get them wet. That's the thing.
It's funny you guys mentioned this idea of like, oh, I wish like a thug would break into my house, because more recently they've sort of added a Black Lives Matter element to it.
Yes.
So originally
Yeah.
this was like, oh, these like effete Antifa are going to come and steal my guns. But now they're saying, at least some of the folks I've seen are like that, like Black Lives Matter will use this as a reparations opportunity and sort of like ransack people's homes.
Well, they have to do that, though, because the thing I'm seeing, and I've got some great content based on this that we'll talk about in a minute, the recurring theme from all the TCOTs who've been screaming at me the last 2 days is that they think that Antifa are a bunch of soy-based pansies who are going to be very easy to defeat. And that makes you wonder, well, then why are you so terrified of them that you made up this fantasy of them coming to kill you? And I think part of it is, they've decided, well, also there'll be black people who are actually scary, who I'm genuinely scared of.
And no, that's the other thing is that they're like fucking terrified of D-Ray.
Oh God, yeah.
Like that's my favorite thing. Like D-Ray, even if you like, I don't agree with D-Ray, like some of D-Ray's politics. I mean, I agree with all the neoliberal stuff, but none of the anti-racist stuff. He's just a very likable normie. Like all his tweets are like, wow, did you know that some people put jam on muffins? Wow, did you guys know that Best Buy almost put a Starbucks in? And these people think he's like Fred Hampton meets Xerxes from 300.
I mean, as Matt was alluding to, like the overarching theme is there's this, be ready because something really scary is going to happen. Like, prepare your house, your home, like anything could happen. This is crazy. But there's also the thrill of being like, you fucking pussies think you know what war is? I'll show you what war is. You're going to meet this, meet this 40 cal gun I have or whatever. But like, in sort of taking all of this in and sort of imbibing these videos and these memes, like the other big question I have is sort of what's like what need does this fulfill in these people's lives to engage so heavily in this obvious fantasy? And I think the answer is because it's fun, right? Like I think believing in this kind of